I usually kind of give a scenario that if you are lost in a big city and you don't know how to get home, that person is not going to go around asking each person they meet, how did I get here? How did I get here? They're going to ask, how do I get home? And oftentimes, what I'll encounter is people asking, why am I like this? Why am I having this problem? How did I get to this point in my life? And truly, when we start to ask the right questions, it's actually when we can start to shift. Because I can answer those questions. I can talk about, okay, well, when you were 1, this happened, or when you were 2, that happened, and it triggered a chain of events that led you to where you are. But that's not going to help you figure out how to get out of it and how to actually change it. So that's kind of one way of figuring out how to ask right questions. Another thing that happens, that occurs for me, is sometimes people will ask questions about an unrelated subject and kind of have an insistence about something that isn't really the core of their problem. Something as simple as maybe someone has a clash with someone at work and they want to know, okay, how do I make that person change in order for me to get along with them, or how do I make them see my side? And instead, this clash might be out of a place of pain inside of them, and that might be the thing that needs to be dealt with. Not only that, but the question might be, how can I handle this clash better, versus how do I make another person change their behavior? Does that make sense?
Sure.
Where a lot of people do that.
Yeah. Well, actually, I was going to ask you that, is how, like, when a person is obsessed with someone in their life, and they're always saying, that person did this, that person did this, that person bugged me this way, that person, how do you help them see another way to go?
Okay, that's a good question. And of course, that depends a lot on the person, because everyone is in a different place and ready to hear a different level of information that will take them to their next level of evolving. So depending on who it is, I would just either suggest that we drop that subject completely and start working on just them, so that they can start to get a little bit of a foothold on who they are and where they're at, and some different ways to look at life. Then I would give them different communication practices, but with different people, not on the difficult person, and kind of help them build a body of knowledge and experience that shows them that they can have a responsibility for their lives and responsibility for their communication, and that they have the power to change the way the world is interacting with them. Then once they've kind of covered this ground, then it's easier to approach the person that they're blaming, because now they have tools and now they have some information that I've given them that blame doesn't work, and that being a victim doesn't work. That if we stay in the land of victim, we also become a bully, which is generally how we identify people that bother us, is by saying they're doing something wrong, they're doing something bad, they're bullying us in some way. And if we perceive the world that way, then we are also that. Generally I tell people that when somebody's being mean to you, it's because they're hurt somehow. That true meanness is provoked from fear and pain. So it doesn't make it right, but it's important to be able to see that in order to have a compassion, in order to be able to heal your relationships and reach out in a certain way.